Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. I'm your host, KJ, and thank you so much for being here with me. Today, we are going to talk about something that I feel like a lot of adults can relate to, not just us girls. So if you want to share this with somebody, go ahead and share it. Because we're talking about navigating and nurturing adult friendships. Because listen, adulting is hard. Honestly, adulthood is the worst hood I've ever been to. But having the right people in your corner can make such a difference. And it's already hard enough trying to figure out who's really in your corner, who's here for the long haul, and then who those seasonal people are that are just here for a brief time. Maybe they're a lesson, maybe they needed something from you. So strap in, because we about to talk about it, okay? And let's be real. Friendships in adulthood hit differently because there are so many other factors involved. When you're younger, especially in college, your friendships are really about proximity. And it's so much easier to get up with your friends, to keep up with your friends, to see your friends in person. You know, you tend to vibe with whoever sat next to you in class or whoever was on your team or whoever was in your club or organization. And it was just so much fun. We had so many things that we could bond over, and you really were able to just have a good time. Hey, let's go to the cafe and grab lunch. Hey, let's go to this game. Hey, let's go to this show. But now, as you get older and life gets busy, you have to think about work, families, squeezing in that me time, because taking care of yourself is just as important as taking care of others. And you don't want to get to the point where maintaining your friendships can feel like a full-time job, but sometimes it does. Because now you have to schedule things like, hey, what are you doing 2 weeks from now? Depending on where your friends live. Or what are you doing next month? Or what are you doing for Christmas? You know, really putting in that effort. And that's okay. Because it's not that your adult friendships are about that constant communication. And I think the way that we build and bond our friendships when we're younger, especially the friendships that are based off of proximity, we take that into adulthood and we feel like, oh, I have to constantly talk to these people for them to understand that we're friends, or I have to constantly be in communication and know what's going on in all of my friends' lives, even though we don't have that same proximity. And that's not the case. I definitely feel like when it comes to your adult friendships, it should be more about quality over quantity. You know, you may have some friends that you don't talk to every day. You might not talk to them for weeks, sometimes even months, because life really does happen. But you make sure that you pick up the phone and call. You check in. You send a voice note, send a text message. So you're still doing the things to keep up with your friend. You just may not see them as often as you would like. And no matter what, every time that you talk, it feels like no time has passed. Those are the friendships that I am learning to really, really, really make sure that I am being intentional in. And here's the thing, right? When it comes to nurturing those adult friendships, it really does require that intentionality. You have to prioritize the people that are pouring into you, the people that are making space for you, the people that are really supporting you. And I've learned that that support is going to look different from every friend. Those check-ins are going to look different from every friend. That pouring into is going to look different from every friend. But some things that I have done and want to do more that I feel like can work in any friendship, no matter how close or far you all may be, is to schedule regular check-ins. Even if it's just a quick voice note or a text message, if any of my friends cross my mind and I haven't talked to them in a while, I'll send just a quick, hey, how's everything going? Or, hey, just want to check in, love you. Just something really quick, really simple to let them know, like, yes, you are on my mind. I'm still thinking about you, and I hope all is going well. Something that I think I'm going to do more is planning some type of virtual catch up with my friends that I don't see or talk to as often, which again is easier said than done because life, family, and it's the holidays now. So might be a little more tricky, but I definitely want to start incorporating more of those check-ins with my longer distance friends just so we can catch up and we don't feel like we're missing out on so much. And also showing up for the big moments and the small ones. I absolutely love and adore my friends. We all try our very best to make sure that we show up for each other, whether it's a big moment or a small moment. And we also understand that even if we can't make it, we're still going to find a way to celebrate each other and to be excited and to show love. And that is something that I have cherished so much. I actually have a particular friend group that I met. We actually met at work. We met through proximity, but this was the first time I've ever clicked like that with an entire group of people. Like we all meshed so well. And we still have a group chat to this day. We have not worked together now, I think, in almost 3 years. Has it been almost 3 years? It's been about 3 years. And we still have a group chat with each other. We still check in almost every day, actually. We keep each other updated on life. We share the big moments. We share the small moments. We show up for each other. And honestly, anytime one of us is celebrating something or has something going on, we try our best to make that our reunion time because it's the easiest way to schedule. Like, oh, wait, you have a birthday? Wait, you're getting married? Wait, what's going on? So we try and make those moments as special as we can for each other. And even if we can't show up, when I tell you, put some good news in that group chat if you want to, and I promise you the amount of love that you will receive is crazy. Well, I'm saying you, but I'm holding my friends hostage. But even still, just the amount of love that is received virtually through text message, through voice notes is so amazing and so wonderful. And so it's really great to have that. And also, lucky me, two of my best friends now live in the same city as me. So it's really great that we get to be in proximity with each other again, but we still make sure we show up for all of those moments if and when we can. And when we can't, we find ways to still celebrate and connect and show that love to each other. But please do not confuse effort with perfection because, like I've been saying, life happens, right? And I feel like we have to understand that, and true friends will understand that. If you miss a call, or if you miss an event, or if you miss one of those big moments in person, it's okay. It's not about being perfect, it's more so about being present and just making sure that however you can show up, that you do show up. Another thing that I feel like is important when talking about adult friendships is really talking about when those friendships also no longer serve you. The same way a relationship with a partner can no longer serve you, so can a friendship. And that's okay. Yes, this part is a little bit harder because you have to let go. And we don't talk about friendship breakups as much as we talk about relationship breakups, but they hurt just as bad. They're just the same. But sometimes you have to recognize when a friendship is no longer serving you and figure out what you have to do next. And I have had to do that in my adult life. I've had to realize that there were just some friendships that were no longer serving me. And I had to navigate those conversations. And was it tough? Yes. But do I regret it? No. There was one friendship in particular that happened in my adult that actually carried over from my childhood into my adult life. And I thought everything was going so well, right? We were great friends. We kept up with each other. We kept in touch. I mean, to the point where we went to completely different universities in undergrad, but we would call each other to walk across campus. Like if we didn't have anybody else to go at that time, we would call each other to walk across campus. It'd be like, hey, I'm about to go to the caf. You want to come with me? And we would talk and have a good time. But it came to a point where I personally was going through a lot in life, and so was this friend. But those were things that we hadn't really shared with each other. And the instance that really made our friendship kind of go astray, I was going through a lot. I had just found out some things about my grandfather and him being sick. And so, I was navigating that because my grandfather, one of my favorite people on the planet. And so I didn't want to burden this particular friend with that because I also got all of this information on their birthday. And I'm like, shoot, I can't. Like, this isn't the day or the time to have that conversation. So I really kept it to myself. And before I could even, send my happy birthday message, I received a message which was like, "Oh, you're not going to tell me happy birthday." And I was like, "Whoa, the day's not over yet. What's going on?" And so in that moment, I really just wanted to understand where this friend was coming from. And so I was like, "Well, hey, what's going on? Like, what's wrong?" And so they just started explaining that they had also been going through a lot in life, and they just didn't feel like the friendship was serving them anymore. And I was like, "You know what? That's fair. I understand. It's okay." I didn't even bother to explain what I was going through, what I was experiencing. And honestly, unless they watch this episode of the podcast to this day, they don't know what took place way back when. But in that moment, it didn't feel like I needed to go tit for tat. It didn't feel like I needed to go trauma for trauma with this friend, because I realized if this friendship isn't serving you, I'm not going to hold you hostage in a friendship. And yes, it was very hard to let go. And yes, it hurt a lot because we had so many years of friendship built up. But I was also understanding that I needed to respect where they were coming from, and I needed to respect their needs. And honestly, after that, we didn't really talk at all. Maybe a few years later, we caught up a little bit. But things have been going so well for the both of us, and I'm still very, 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 very proud of them and wish them the absolute best. It just wasn't really meant for us. And that's the thing. Sometimes friendships and relationships will feel one sided. And that's something that you need to be able to reach out and say. And that's also something you need to be able to receive. Does that mean the friendship has to end? No. If you're in a space where you're like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna do better, I can do better with these things, by all means, it's worth trying. But I think you also need to understand when it's not. And for me, that whole situation was really draining. And as I reflected on it more, I noticed how drained I was throughout most of the friendship, and had to understand. I said, you know what, maybe this was the best thing for the both of us. Maybe it was just good for us to be childhood friends, but the adulthood friendship part, we just weren't putting in the work that I think either of us needed in a real true friendship. Now, sometimes friendships can get toxic and disrespectful, and that was never the case in this instance. But I did have an adult friendship that I recently had to let go of as well because it got a little toxic. Not on my end. But that's another story for another day because I can talk about that for ages, okay? But I say all that to say, even in that situation, it's okay to let go. That doesn't mean that there's any beef. Sometimes you just have to make peace with the fact that people are going to grow. You're going to grow in different directions. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that they're a bad person. It simply just means that you are on different paths. And it is okay for those paths not to align. And I know I was talking a lot about having honest conversations, with your friends, but you also need to have some honest conversations with yourself. Talk to yourself and say, you know what? How does this friendship look from my end? How does this friendship look from my friend's end based off of what they're explaining to me? Are there any changes that can be made? How do we move forward? And also being able to share and express your feelings and why you may need to step back or why you may need to take a moment. And there's something that my mom told me when I was really young that I have carried through all of my friendships and honestly relationships. And she always said, and this may not be an exact quote, but essentially she was saying, if you cannot be honest with your friends and they cannot be honest with you, then that is not a real friendship. So if you feel like you have to, go easy on your boundaries, or if you feel like you can't have those honest conversations, or if you're feeling like you have to just go ghost and let things fade naturally, maybe it's time to reconsider what that friendship looks like and how it's serving you. But the beautiful part about all of this is we're allowed to grow, we're allowed to evolve, and the same grace that we allow others, we're allowed to give that grace to ourselves. So just some really quick tips that I think work well and have worked well for me when it comes to nurturing my ride or die adult friendships because I love, 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 love. I love my people. I really do. So being able to communicate openly, like I just said for my mom, you need to be able to be honest with your friends, and your friends need to be able to be honest with you. And you really need to talk about what you need, set those boundaries, and have those conversations. If something makes you upset, you should be able to speak on that and advocate for yourself. You also want to make sure that you're celebrating those wins. Let your friends know, even if you can't be there in person. Be that cheerleader, be supportive, celebrate them the same way you would want to be celebrated. And again, offer that grace because not only are people going to make mistakes, life can get busy, life can get messy. So just show some compassion and some understanding when your friends need it because you know what you go through in your day-to-day life that your friends may not always be privy to. So understand that they have some things in their lives as well. And of course, when everyone is ready to share, those things can and will be shared. But it's always good to offer that grace. And don't forget that new friendships, even in adulthood, are possible. It's a little bit harder to meet, but it's definitely possible. You just have to be open to connecting with people. And you can connect in so many ways, whether they align with your current season in life, whether you've joined some new groups, some new teams, some organizations, and you're meeting new people. It's okay. It's never too late to meet a new friend, to make a new ride or die, to meet your soul sister, okay? It is possible and it's never too late. So, girl, listen. Friendships in adulthood are not always going to be easy, but they are definitely worth it. The right people are going to help you grow. They're going to inspire you. They're going to remind you of your worth. And the friendship that you have let go of, they teach you lessons. Even if that chapter has ended, there's still something you can learn there. You can still cherish that friendship and you can still love and respect that person. So here's our challenge for the week. I'm going to start doing these now. Reach out to an old friend, whether it's a text, a call, a voice note, whether you set up a meeting. Just check in and see how things are going. And if there's a friendship you need to release, give yourself grace and permission to do so with love. With that being said, thank you for listening to another episode of Girl Listen, the mini podcast. Thank you so, so, so much for being here. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to listen in to the next episode.